To manually create a batch job, we're going to navigate into the System Administration area and then click on the Links tab of the workspace. Then, underneath the Batch Jobs area, we're going to click on Batch Jobs. This will open up a new screen where we can set up and configure various batch jobs. For my example, I'm going to set up the email distributor batch. So I'll go ahead and click the new icon. I'll need to type in a description for the job. I'm going to call this Nightly Email Distribution. In the start date and time, I'll specify when I want this to start. I want it to start tonight, and I want it to start at 8 p.m. So I'll enter in the details of that time. Next, in the Company Accounts field, when I save the record, the system will automatically link the batch job to the company that I'm connected to, which in this case is USMF. Next, I'll need to add one or more tasks into this batch job. So I'll go ahead and click on the View Tasks button in the Action pane. This will open up a new screen where I can configure the details for my batch task. I'll go ahead and click the New icon. I'll type in a description such as nightly email job, and using the company accounts drop-down box, I can select my company. I'll select USRT. In the class name, I'll need to type in the system name of my class that I want to run. You can optionally scroll over to the right and select a batch group. In my case, I'm going to leave the empty batch group as my option. When you scroll over to the far right, you can see the progress, start date, and end time for this particular task. If additional tasks are required, for example, if I need to run this job in another legal entity, I can add another line. When I'm finished, I'll click Save, and I'll close the window to go back to the previous screen. The next step in the process will be to set up the recurrence. I'll do this by clicking on the Recurrence button in the Action pane. This will open up a new window where I can define my recurrence. I want this to start at 8 p.m., so I'll go ahead and type that information in again. I can select the time zone, and I'll leave this as my default, which is Pacific time zone. I have three options for when I want the job to end. I can specify no end date, ending after one occurrence, or I can end by a specified date and type in the date. In this case, I'm selecting no end date, and on the bottom half of the form, in the recurrence pattern area, I can select one of many different options. Each one of the options has a different field or sets of fields over on the right-hand side of the form to define how you want the hours to work. Here you can see for minutes, I can specify the number of minutes I want to repeat the particular job. If I select hours, I can enter in a number of hours I want to repeat the job. When you select days, you get two options. You can repeat every specific number of days, or you can specify that you want to run this every weekday. On the Weeks tab, we can select a weekly interval and the days of the week that we want to run this particular job. When you select the Months option, you are presented with two different options. The first option is to repeat a specific day by a fixed interval. So in this case, it's set to the 20th day of every 1 month. If I wanted this to occur quarterly on the 20th of the month, I would enter in 3 into the per field. Alternatively, you can select repeat a specific weekday by a fixed interval. In this case, you can specify which week of the month and which day of the month, and how many months you want to skip in between each month. When it's set to 1, it means every month. When you select years, similar options are available where you can select repeat once a year, or you can say repeat a specific weekday each year, in which case you select the week, the weekday, and the month that you want to repeat it on. For my example, I want to run this nightly, so I'm going to say days, and for my option, I just want to do this on weekdays. So I'll click OK. You can also optionally set up alerts for your batch jobs. Alerts allow messages to be sent when the job is finished, errored, and so on. So I'll click the Alerts button in the action pane, which opens up the Batch Job Alerts dialog. If I want to receive alerts when there's an error or if it's canceled, I can select the slider for those options. Then I'll need to select how I want the alerts to be displayed. Do I want them to be displayed as pop-ups or as email messages? So I'll go ahead and select email messages and then click OK. It's important to note that the status of this batch job is currently set to withhold. When you manually create a new batch job, this will be the default status. In order for the job to actually run and execute, you'll need to update the status. This is done by clicking on Change Status and then selecting Waiting. If you want to cancel a job, you can select the Canceling option. I'll click OK, and now you can see the job is set to waiting. Tonight at 8 p.m., the job will execute and the email distribution batch job will run.